Good morning. Just going to have us sit here for a couple of minutes. I don't think it's the top of the hour yet. We're in Georgia's garden. Good morning. Hello, everybody. For those of you that didn't hear me, I'm sitting on the porch looking out on Georgia's garden. So I'll try to move the camera. I'll try to move the camera from time to time so you can see different aspects of this extraordinary garden. Yeah, isn't that great, Anne? Transported across the waters. Maybe someday I'll do a Facebook Live in your backyard. I I had a accident almost 20 years ago when I tore both my Achilles tendons, and it would seem that over the last 6 months my left Achilles tendon has caused me trouble, and to the point that it was too painful to walk very far. I apologize for my throat. I swallowed water wrong a minute ago, and I'm still in the raspy throat since then. But it brought me back to a time. I think my theme, I have two themes today. One of them is don't give up. Because it was pretty much down for the count with this tendon in the old days. And I'm 74, say 50 years ago, I would have been on a walker and pretty much, relegated to being crippled. But now they have these amazing new things. I want to tell you about it, but before I do that, I want to, for those of you that just joined me, we're looking at Georgia's garden. I'm staying at their place because I have to keep my leg up for 4 days. But before I get into that, I was very ill from the day I was born. I was a preemie. And I just didn't have much of a chance. I was sickly all the time, and my activities had a short shelf life, and in a way it was great. I was psychic because it doesn't require much moving around, and it's something that allowed me to be bedridden. As Deb Merchant will tell you, she used to take those old black phones and basically prop me up in bed and put the phone under my shoulder to and rest my head against it so I could do a reading. So I just basically needed, from the neck up. My daughter, Liana, when she was about 12, when I was bedridden one more time, and that I'd have these psychic surges that people would take a mirror and put it by my nose to make sure I wasn't dead. Really, truthfully. My daughter told a friend of hers once that her mother was mostly dead. That's how bad it was. But then homeopathy came on the scene, and naturopathy and cranial sacral, and energy medicine. And then Saima Lakshmi Devi came on the scene, and who works with the light force energy in the human matter to give it a place to reside together. So for me, however, it was miraculous. At 54, I became biologically functional. So it's been 20 years. And then more functional and more functional and more functional. Hiking and not having to be out of body all the time to survive the toxicity that often with people like myself, when a lot of psychics in my day, when I was born, they died of terrible diseases, usually multiple diseases, because of the toxicity they took in, blending with others to have a view. So somehow when I sat down with Chris Montanaro, because Heather Hunted recommended it, about my ankle, the first thing that was really miraculous was that, would somebody put in the chat that this is George's garden? I see it commented on, but just so people that come on know what they're looking at. Where I used to live. But the magic of it, the synchronicity, was Chris happened to have a conversation with me that day when he took a sonogram of my ankle, of my tendon, about the COVID virus. And between he and Dr. Chari, I got to be sitting here talking to you. But I went back yesterday or Thursday or Wednesday, because I'd been taking these shots giving myself shots for these several weeks, and I'd been on this other pills. I don't know what for, but they were to see. Thank you, Praline. They were to see if we could get the life force energy, the biological life force energy in my ankle strong enough to do what I'm about. I'll tell you in just a second. But Wednesday, when I went in to get it done, I went into this wash. It even makes me cry now. Because I just kept exploring what would have my spirit live in my body my whole life. And yes, it's probably true that moving into the higher frequencies of one's own spirit does help the body get well and live longer. That is true, unless it's your time. So I went that route. I went the route of higher vibrational energy, and I realized there were two tracks you can exist in. One has an enemy, and one has paradise, where everything has a place and everything's part of everything else, and everything operates on behalf of everything else, and you have choice about where the things that you're involved in are placed in your territory or your garden. And so I basically built my garden of paradise, largely, or almost, I guess exclusively really, beginning in my own mind, which is of course why we're doing the work we're doing today together. But I've just been in the wash of of being 74 years old and knowing, and plus I had major car wreck and all sorts of things, polio, all sorts of things has happened to the lower torso, lower part of my body. So lying face down while they were getting ready to do what they did with my ankle, I just entered the realm of the miraculous again, and the realm of appreciation and gratitude. if I still lived in East Tennessee, the odds are good that I would be obese and dysfunctional and sick and on a walker. They don't even have organic food stores. The only organic food store is has boxed organic cookies. So also the real privilege of living in California and in this area of California where everything's organic, where everything is considered normal to be healthy, normal to do cranial sacral, and normal to do leading edge medicine. So I've just been in a wash of how fortunate I've been and humbled that a baby that didn't have a chance is sitting here today, and the odds are really good I'll be able to walk again without pain. Walk again without pain. But here's the magic for me. So I go in, I don't know what they're doing. My body's been prepped by ligament building pills and shots and strengthening that part of the body, bone repair stuff that athletes use. But what they do is they take 8 vials of my blood, and I don't know why. So I said, because I don't let people work on me I don't trust. And what they did is they spun my blood until they had plasma. So what they were going to use to get the blood able to function in a dead part of my tendon, to force it to have life again, was my own plasma. My own plasma. In other words, I was about to heal myself. I can't explain the exquisiteness of that. And then God bless them, because God has blessed them, because they took snapshots on the sonogram so they could show me what they did. And basically, they're just forcing the dead part of the foot that has the tear in it, forcing it to produce blood again. And so they engorged my tears, just like, and they explained to me that when you have scars, that's plasma. I didn't know that. It's made of your own plasma. So it's not only that the scar protects the wound, it also is giving the wound back its ability to have blood flow again. That wasn't even possible even a few years ago. So I wanted to start our conversation today with don't give up. Our bodies got a beating from the day we were born. We were born into a world that didn't eat right, didn't think right, toxic, really toxic. And we fought for our right to be awake, to be spiritual in the truest sense, filled with spirit. Don't not do that. Fill with spirit. It kept me alive. Spirit first, flesh second. Spirit heightens your vibrational field. You know, I really was mostly dead most of my life. Long weeks of transcendent comas, out of body, ill for at least 3 to 4 months, January, February, March, April. But I always had my spirit. It never left me. It was always there. And then things that operate on behalf of spirit, things that are where the spirit and flesh meet, they'll begin to rise in your field. Don't let your body be dead. Don't have it be an inanimate carcass you drag around. Please. Don't live between your ears. Live in your spirit. I'm begging you, actually. Not just because of the benefits, which is enough for me. Find your spirit. Be inspirited. Have what function you have, whether it's minimal or huge. Have it be animate. Spirit means to be inspirited, to be animate, to be alive with life. All right, I'm gonna move the camera so you can see another part of George's garden. So close your eyes because it'll be weird when we do that. I don't know if you can see. You can't. Hold on a minute. Let me just move this over here so you can see the angel. See the angel in the driveway? Like, this is off the table, so I have to put it back on, but there. This is George's garden. And I'm just sorry for my wobbly hands. I'm just going to turn it a bit so you can be with another part of the garden for a while. There you are. Promise me. Write it on that screen. I promise that you'll animate your own spirit. Come on. We're headed in some really hard times. What are you going to do if the only world you're looking at is the world outside you? Is the world around you? What are you going to do if you're not in the animation of your own spirit? Really, what are you going to do? It's almost like a social stigma to say we're spiritual. But to yourself you can say, I choose to be inspirited. I choose that. And whatever time I can, whatever time I have available to me. It makes things like engorging a tear in a tendon become a spiritual event, not a medical procedure. Do you understand? Come on. We got to do this. We got to do this. There's got to be some of us that are willing to be inspirited and not bobbleheads being knocked around by the events of the world and even the events of my body. When I was a little girl, when Papa Kit would say God is good, my God went from being a Christian God to having the good fortune as a mystic to be introduced to generating, organizing designs of creation in multiple forms, multiple expressions. I'm fortunate. But I also chose it along the way. I chose it after being ill for months and having terminal cancer with 6 weeks to live. And I chose it in the face of death and hardship and pain. And I just made a decision. I was crippled till I was 11 or 12. I think 11. Kids used to throw eggs at me, call me crippled. And I know how that feels to be taunted and made to feel bad about yourself. But I had this little light inside me that where my spirit lived, where my spirit dwelled, and I clung to it, I hugged it. I went to safety there. I felt love there. Frankly, my love for me, the love my love for me, that because I said so. And I know what it's like. I'm reading, Georgia had read a book by James Comey. Those of you who may not know who he is overseas. It's called A Higher Loyalty. And I thought I'd just scan it, and now I'm reading it deeply. It's the most beautiful story. It's just a man's story about his commitment to his own spirit. Just a man's story. Not positional, not patriotic or partisan. Just a man's story about what he couldn't give up. How he couldn't give up what he valued. And how he made mistakes sometimes. It's just a beautiful story. Heartwarming. Life-giving, life-enhancing. So our stories, okay? Are our stories life-giving and life-enhancing? Or are we thrown by the systems that are crashing all around us? We fear for our safety. We fear for our survival, but are we matching that with what time we have being precious? I ask you. Only you can do this. Nobody outside you can do this. Only you can do this. I claim my spirit. I will in the midst, that's what the Jews in Auschwitz and concentration camps did. They found things, one hid an insect as a pet. We're too soft. We become too comfortable, those of us that are not out on the street begging for food, or our children being taken away from us at the border, or being told we can't go to college because it's online. We have to go back to our country. Terrible things are happening right now. More terrible than we can tolerate, because in the United States and your countries, we learned freedom. But we've also grown soft with expectation that freedom is not something that begins with us. So are people fighting for their right for video games and cars and grocery stores and luxuries and distractions? Or are we fighting that inside of us that chooses for us not to be free? I couldn't figure out why I've been having these dreams. I've been having really weird dreams. But the theme of the dream is I'm very busy, very engaged in getting these different scenarios, these kind of getting people that are unsavory. Usually it is all kind of in a one-person archetype, and getting them away from the people so that the people don't even know. They don't even know that they're on the brink of something really bad happening to them. And but in these dreams, there have been quite a bit of them now. It's like separating that which goes against life so that which it operates on behalf of life can flourish. It's really the theme of the dream. And pretty much I'm pragmatic through the whole thing. All these different scenarios, they're all odd scenarios. But through the different, and they're nothing like I know. It's not like I'm dreaming about anything I know. They're kind of like fantasy worlds or odd, distorted worlds. But at the end, and I'm not going to tell you the end because it would ruin your day, but at the end of the dream, right when I've gotten the villain away from the people and they can't find their way back, and I know they can't, they do something terrible, something that stays in my head, something bizarre, something unexpected, and something that hurts me, makes me keep it, like I can't get it out of my head, something vile. But it's been a great learning because I have to, because I can't get the thought of what happened out of my head. I just have to give it a place. Just let it fester. But don't, and leave it alone. And go back to the garden. Go back to my dog and being here with Georgia and Marilyn. It's sort of like vacation because Georgia's got a bad shoulder. Marilyn's having to end up taking care of both of us. But we're in a love affair here. And you have to understand, I left here because I couldn't have bears come play with me here. But it's not Georgia and Maryland that did that. It was the conditions of where they live and what's allowed and what's not allowed. And that's very sad to me. But our relationship is beautiful. And they're as sad as I am. Because where I am, animals come. The condition of the times. So I am a prophet, and I am a mystic, and I am a seer, and I am begging you to build the territory of your own spirit in your mind. People that are prophets and mystics and seers have portent. They see ahead. And we need to flourish. Is my sound gone? Would someone tell me if you can still hear me? Gail, can you hear me? Okay, thank you, Sylvie. Must be your sound, Praline. Somebody say to Praline that it's her sound. Thank you, Michelle. So in a way, I want to haunt you today, but I want it to be a good haunting. I want you to remember what I say. I want you to remember that the only thing we're really in charge of is our spirit. Really, honestly, it is. Honestly, please. I sent out a request. My psychicness is sharp right now. It's always sharp when there's shifts and changes, like I knew about 9/11 before it happened, and I didn't know the substance of it, but I think there were 30 to 33 cassette tapes that were mailed back to me. And on the tapes, because I worked with a lot of people in New York during that time, I had said to people, don't be walking the streets of New York on 9/11. So even though I know things, I don't know what I know. I just start preparing. I just start making statements. I just start giving instructions as if I'm aware of something that truthfully I'm not aware of. But I'm a very, very high percentage predictive psychic. Usually, sorry, the internet went a minute. usually are about 15% correct. And because I don't predict, because I only move with what we're opening up into, and I adjust myself as I go. I don't predict because I know that human consciousness can shift the outcome. That literally by being aware, let's say that in Moses' time, it would be like a psychic saying, there's going to be a famine, or you're all going to starve to death. That would be the prediction. But instead, Moses said, you need to gather all the wheat and put it in storage because there's a famine coming. And frankly, the guy didn't need to believe him, the Pharaoh, but he did it anyway. And there was a famine. Then they had food. So prediction is not really that cool, but preparing for the possibility of something is. So in our old group, the Spirals of Being, I sent out a thread, and the thread said, please buy 50 the boxes of 50 paper masks and buy one face shield. Just do it. And people tried to give me their opinion, and people tried to ask me why, but I don't have those kind of answers. I just know how to pay attention. And I'm almost always correct in what I'm paying attention to, but I'm not trying to be correct. I would love to be wrong. I would love for you to spend $20, $10 for 50 paper face masks that you'd wear under your cloth mask, and a face shield if it really got bad, another $10, and then make me wrong because you never got to use them. I would be just fine with that. Really fine with that. So this conversation today is a lot like that. It's like, find your spirit. Find it. First of all, the beauty of being with our spirit is it gets us through all times, good and bad, beautiful and ugly, because we always have it. We don't lose it. It's our buffer in the storm. It's our go-to place. Let's see if I can get this bird who's now paying attention to me. Hold on, we're going to move the camera again. Close your eyes to another part of the. He flew. I'm just going to send it to another part there. And this is the tree and the. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, that's the tree. Let's see what else we can look at. We'll go over here. We'll do this one. Hold on, close your eyes. We'll do this part of the garden right there for a minute. Oops, my thing just, there we are. There, just for a second. So that's really my message today. And sometimes the miraculous happens, but often lately, actually. But there are two worlds now. One is the problem-solving world that is inanimate, dead, a bubblehead, not really connected to life or what has its exist as whole. Because problems are going to be solved in ways none of us can figure out now. Things are going to be solved in ways that human beings have nothing to do with. It's how we respond to them is going to matter. It's out of our hands. The rearranging of reality has begun. Would you all be all right if it bounced a bit? I'm going to try to walk over to the creek, but it's going to bounce. So keep your, and I've got to walk slow because of my ankle, but I want to take you to the creek, the homemade creek. So everybody hold on. I couldn't manage the other, hold on, Tantra, I got to figure this out because I have a bobblehead foot. Okay. Lily thinks she's going out to go to the bathroom, but I can't walk that far. George would probably kill me if she saw me right now. Okay. All right. Probably take a longer time coming back. But the point is that if we are no longer in charge, if the systems are now, in other words, everything that, all the information's in. Hold on, I have to balance again. All the information's in. And if everything is beginning to rearrange itself, and all sorts of things are going to happen beyond our predictive capacity, then I would think that the only thing we would be, oh, I hope I don't lose you. I'm going away from the internet. I'll have to switch to phone. The only thing we would be interested in is building the power of our spirit. Okay, I got this far. There it is. There you go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to go open the door for Lily. Let her go to the bathroom. But I wanted to show you this. And I don't know if you can see down there the beehives. Do you see the beehives? Drink it in. Come on, drink it. Have you still lost me? Am I here? Because I think it had to switch to... sorry about that. It has to switch from camera. It has to switch from camera to... from internet to cell phone. So hold on, we're going to bobble up with Tantra because I'm going to let my dog out the gate. And I apologize for the... It's my first attempt to walk. Oh! With my foot. Ouch! Sorry, everybody. But, you know, this is real. All right, close your eyes. Sorry, my son just called me from Amsterdam, from Holland, and it knocked us off. Okay. Let my dog out. There you go, Lil. Okay, I'll stand here now. Whew. That was a body of work. Right here are her roses. That's her back porch. Here are her roses. Just breathe them in. Imagine, yeah, I'm coming in and out because it's going between cell phone and internet. And then my son Aaron just called me from Holland, so that knocked it. So, but why don't we just cope? There, this is her beautiful garden. This is where she builds her church. This is where we get to visit today with each other. And I don't know if you all can feel it, but part of what's holding the internet and holding my ability to do this is your all's desire to be here with me and to be here with the trees and the... Isn't that beautiful? Sorry for my bouncing, but the other one's too much for me to manage with my gimp foot right now. The beautiful stones that she put there. So I want you to remember this conversation today. That's her, by the way, that's her worm. Can't remember what they're called right now, but dirt made from worms. And there's what I used to look out at back there when I lived here. I'm just going to move my hand. There we are. Come on, Lil. Hold on, I'm just going to walk out the door a minute. I can't believe I'm walking. I'm going back. The internet won't hold. Okay, so let me just get myself down one ramp so I can thank you for your time with me. Time with Paradise. And you know what you could do? If you want to, you can turn the sound off on this video and you can just have it in the background. Just a beautiful place, particularly if you live in a crowded metropolitan area. Find ways. The power of the magic of human beings is finding ways. Finding ways to keep our spirit alive in the worst of times. But if you learn to keep your spirit alive, it's not a fair weather friend. Your spirit is always there with you. It's the beauty of you. It's not just the eternal of you. It's the always of you. So thank you. I'm going to have to go now because I have to monitor my ability to walk back to the porch with my... Oh, now the bees are coming. Hopefully one of them will fly in front of the... I now have like 10 bees around me. They're my friends. Wish one would fly in front of the camera. So thank you. Thank you for today. Promise to keep your spirit alive. Just promise. I love you. Namaste.